In today's day and age, there are quite a few MMOs to choose from, most of which have existed for over a decade at this point. They've all been around for so long that the developers have really had time to hone in on what makes them shine and to get things right. The content has been well established, the PvP has been perfectly balanced, the rewards in different game modes are evenly applied, and the economy is fair and thriving. Nah, I'm just kidding. That literally never happens in any MMO, none of those things. The only consistency across all the MMOs is a predatory cash shop that often thrives on making your characters more attractive. I'm not guilty of falling for that. But seriously, there's a lot of great MMOs out there, and they all have their main strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons. I've actually played them all at this point, many of which for hundreds of hours. But over the years, I always find myself coming back to this one, and ultimately I've sunk more time into this MMO than any other. And the MMO is Guild Wars 2. Now wait, hang on a minute. I can feel you guys clicking off the video. You're like, oh, I tried that one, it sucks. Look, you don't have to play the game or anything. Just hear me out for a minute. Just let me cook, all right? I've given this a lot of thought. Let me cook and then leave your hate in the comments. That's how the whole YouTube thing works, right? Okay, so there's three main reasons why I love Guild Wars 2, and it's honestly these three things that keep me coming back and regularly playing the game. The third reason is definitely the biggest, but I'll just build up to it, so hang tight. So the first reason is the story content. I am a huge sucker for a good storyline, and honestly, I really like cinematic cuts and voiceover interactions. I've literally heard people trash games before for trying too hard to be like a movie and having all these unplayable cutscenes, but I'm gonna be honest, I actually really enjoy those, especially when there's a main campaign / story arc, and then there are a bunch of other fun game modes to play as well. I really quite enjoy having a movie caliber experience delivered through a video game platform. Some MMOs do this better than others. Hot take, I actually think SWTOR does this better than any other MMO, but I do think Guild Wars 2 is extremely close. And maybe that's not a hot take, maybe you guys actually agree with that. Y'all let me know in the comments which MMO you think does story content the best. Anyways, I remember particularly enjoying the Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire expansions because they really introduced a new level of story content gameplay. The voice acting seemed much better than previous story content, there were more frequent cinematic cutscenes, and I overall liked the way your main commander character developed and interacted with the other main characters. You really feel like you're part of the main arc rather than just an onlooker, which I think is really important. And spoiler alert, they showed you that no character really has plot armor. I mean, I guess we already kind of knew that from Tybalt, and well, I won't spoil anything else, but yeah, if you haven't played Guild Wars 2's story content yet, you heard nothing. But yeah, overall, the stories they continue to bring with each of their expansions, I find to be extremely entertaining. It's fun to follow along and watch the world progress and develop over time. Now, the second thing that I really enjoy about Guild Wars 2 is its World vs. World game mode. It's been said before that World vs. World is Guild Wars 2's endgame, and honestly, I can kind of see that. I think people just really enjoy large-scale PvP in a lot of ways, and I'm no exception. I think what makes it fun is that you don't really have to be an expert at PvP or 1v1 situations, and you don't have to have the very best gear or anything like that. You just kind of band together with a bunch of other random players and gain power and numbers to squash the ridiculously sweaty solo roamer that can take any 3 of you at once. But since there's 30 of you, he just gets straight up steamrolled. But yeah, doing that and taking camps, towers, and keeps definitely seems to be a source of endless fun. Breaking through walls with siege equipment and rushing in to cap a structure for your team is super satisfying, especially as you watch the color team that you're a part of slowly populating the map. I do find a lot of enjoyment in small-scale skirmishes as well and roaming. I'm definitely one of the more sweaty kind of players who enjoys a good 3 versus 3 or realistically like 2 versus 8. Even though you die a lot in that kind of situation, it just feels extra satisfying when you can pull it off. I will say, I think roaming is most fun when you're playing a class that can stealth because you can engage and disengage with foes so much easier, but there is plenty of fun to be had on other classes as well. You just have to embrace the fact that you will die repeatedly, and you will like it, dang it. Anyways, I think World vs. World is one of the main attractions for new players and for those outside the game looking in. I know it's definitely what sold me on this game way back in 2012, and I've really just enjoyed playing it ever since. Okay, now before I get to the third and main reason I enjoy Guild Wars 2, I have to give like an honorable mention to a certain aspect of the game. Maybe just call it like reason 2.5 why I love Guild Wars 2. But that is the fashion in this game. Specifically the diversity of options for your transmog system. I mean, seriously, you can pretty much make anything you want in this game. I get a lot of compliments on my Wonder Woman Mesmer, but I've also made Kingpin, the Spider-Man villain. I made Wonka because I really enjoyed that movie. I've got Moses from the old Prince of Egypt movie by DreamWorks, which with him I kind of cheated a little bit because I couldn't really find the toga thing he wears, so I just kind of chose some cool pants and went with it. But that kind of proves my point. It was literally fun to try and find the right options to make him look most like the movie. But yeah, then I have Severus Snape from Harry Potter. I'm even planning to make an Inosuke character for my warrior pretty soon. That's actually the first anime I've ever watched and super good. So it's cool to like plan out in your head all the different skins you'll use to create some iconic character. Anyways, I had to mention that because, you know, they call it Fashion Wars 2 for a reason. Decking out a sick looking character is a very legitimate part of the endgame. Don't sleep on it. Okay, but now let's talk about the third and main reason that I love this game and why I still continue to grind out hours over a decade after the game's release, and that is the PvP. At this point, I've probably put more hours into the PvP in this game than any other game mode. I might still have more in World vs. World, it's tough to say, but these days I can hardly bring myself out of PvP to go and play the story content or World vs. World because quite frankly, I'm obsessed. See, I began to start taking the game mode more seriously, and I started to uncover that this game mode is way more complex than I thought it was for years. The strategy in this game runs incredibly deep, and the technical skill required to play certain classes, in addition to the benefits that you receive from having the knowledge of each spec in the game, just adds up to a massive skill ceiling. I've made this comparison many times before, and I'll continue making it until this game no longer exists, but I would put this game on par with other highly competitive PvP-based games like Valorant and Smash Bros. Melee. You have to make very similar strategy decisions on rotations and really understand the roles of the different classes in the game mode, just like Valorant, and you have to maintain a high level of technical skill to pull off certain combos and techniques, just like Smash Bros. On top of this, the combat in Guild Wars 2, in my opinion, is S tier. The mix of tab targeting and action combat done by ArenaNet just allows for a fluid, responsive form of gaming. You really feel in control of your character and their movements and abilities after you practice them for a while. So you feel the reward for learning the class super in-depth in the feeling of the actual combat itself. The skills, in my opinion, are all very visually pleasing for the most part and fun to execute, so whether you're competing at the highest levels of PvP or the lowest, it can really be fun to practice a character simply because combat itself is fun, and that's a big part of what the game mode is all about. It's also worth mentioning that the structure for Guild Wars 2 PvP these days is actually pretty phenomenal. Something a lot of people don't really realize is that they have every level of gameplay available and extensive rewards for every level of gameplay. You have reward tracks for unranked if you just want to mess around. You have reward tracks in addition to league rewards for ranked PvP, and you have extra special rewards for participating in automated tournaments, which is part of what I want to mention here as well. They have automated tournaments, literally tournaments that take place regularly every single day, week, month, and even a tournament of legends, as it's called, for each 6 months. A lot of games do not have this kind of robust structure. What other MMO has PvP like this? I can't think of any, and that's why I love Guild Wars 2. Now, I want to reiterate here that I do think each MMO really has their niche and their particular strength. So again, this is not a knock to other MMOs. This is just why I personally enjoy Guild Wars 2 over the other MMOs out there. But I mean, I'm just some random guy on the internet, so let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you play Guild Wars 2? Do you play Guild Wars 2 with other MMOs? Or what is your main MMO? Do you relate to a lot of the things I've said in this video? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. And if you want to play Guild Wars 2 sometime, hit me up. My account name is in the description, as well as an invite to the guild I'm in. Come by and say hi. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.